welcome to I-24 News Sports Daily Magazine with all the latest scores and stories from around the world. We begin with sports news from right here in Israel. Coach of Maccabi Tel Aviv Football Club, Oscar Garcia, resigned this afternoon, less than 3 months after joining the team on a 2-year deal. Garcia notified the team that he and 2 assistants are leaving the club, citing security reasons and the Gaza situation as the reason for him stepping down. Spaniard Paco Ayestaran will be replacing him. And moving on to the first day of the U.S. Open, day 1 already showcased several of the world's best, including world number 1 Novak Djokovic, Maria Sharapova, and the struggling Scotsman Andy Murray. Samuel Calvo and Danny Swibel take a look at the first day in Flushings.
The U.S. Open in New York, the climax of the American summer for tennis fans, and the Grand Slam is one of the most prestigious and important tournaments for players who want to finish the season in style. Novak Djokovic won against Argentinian Diego Schwartzman, who was ranked 79th worldwide. The Serb reached the second round after only 1 hour and 37 minutes of play in 3 sets, 6-1, 6-2, 6-4. Djoko is not yet fully confident in himself after getting knocked out early in the quarterfinals in both the Masters 1000 Toronto and in Cincinnati this summer.
Last 2-3 weeks, actually, Toronto and Cincinnati were a bit tough emotionally for me. Wasn't finding my game. I wasn't able to feel comfortable on the court, and well, look, you know, this is sport. I had many things that happened in my private life as well in the last 2 months, so I was probably not mentally ready to still compete at a high level in Toronto and Cincinnati, but now it's different. I feel emotionally recharged and ready to go.
Over in Arthur Ashe Stadium, Swiss Stanislav Wawrinka, ranked 4th in the ATP rankings, defeated the 75th ranked Czech Jiří Veselý. A tough contest that took 3 sets and 2 hours and 15 minutes to win, with a score of 6-2, 7-6, 7-6. The 2013 semifinalist secured his place in the second round. He will go up against Brazilian Tomás Bellucci, ranked 91st in the ATP rankings. Meanwhile, 5th seed Milos Raonic brought pride to his home country as the only Canadian to reach the second round after he beat Japan Taro Daniel 3 sets, 6-3, 6-2, and 7-6. Raonic, faithful to his habit, used his impeccable serving skills with 20 aces compared to only 1 by his Japanese opponent. In the second round, he will meet German Peter Gojowczyk.
No, I'm playing much better. I think for things, it's really hard to gauge it just because of the way things went throughout the match. But I feel like just the way I've prepared for this event, I'm feeling more comfortable than any of the other ones. So that's a good thing.
And struggling Scotsman Andy Murray, who was seeded 8th, won against the Dutchman Robin Haas in his debut at the U.S. Open in 4 sets, 6-3, 7-6, 1-6, 7-5. The 2012 U.S. Open champion struggled in his victory because he was suffering from cramps. In the second round, he will face Matthias Bachinger, who only ranked 235 in the world, who was able to beat Czech Radek Stefanik. But to Murray's coach, Amelie Mauresmo, his second round matchup and his low ranking is a great thing.
Busy day for the women's side. Also, some could say 10th seed Caroline Wozniacki got lucky in her first match against Magdalena Rybrikova. Wozniacki took set 1, then her Slovakian opponent put up a fight, winning the second set 6-3. But she was then forced to retire with a left hip injury. Wozniacki moves on to the second round 6-1, 3-6, 2-0. And Maria Sharapova, who missed last year's Open with an injury, started off trailing her fellow Russian Maria Kirilenko 4-2 in the first set. But the 2006 champion bounced back, winning the next 10 games and beating Kirilenko 6-4, 6-0 in just 90 minutes. After the match, Sharapova talked about how she's adapted to playing so well at nighttime.
I think in the beginning of my career, it was always a bit more challenging because I didn't really know how to adjust to what I should do during the day or how do I prepare for that, but I've certainly learned a lot and just know what to expect, and I know the waiting game a little bit better than I did when I was a junior or a young teenager. So but now I really enjoy it. I think there's, you know, you feel the goosebumps when you go out on a night match on Arthur Ashe.
Many athletes are plagued with short-term careers, some because of injury, others because they may not be the stars of their teams. But what happens when players want to revive their careers? Lise Barenbaum and Michael Friedman take a look at how exactly they do so.
After the age of 30, many footballers begin looking to move to other countries in order to extend their career. Despite being sidelined from European giants later in their career, other leagues around the world look to capitalize on signing those players. Second-class leagues such as the MLS in the United States, Turkey's Super League, as well as China's Super League are constantly looking to give players new challenges. At the age of 37, Thierry Henry still has a lot to offer. After an outstanding career playing for Juventus, Barcelona, and Arsenal, the striker has been a key player for the New York Red Bulls. David Villa and Frank Lampard were two of the biggest summer signings for the MLS with a move to the New York City Football Club. North America has attracted other footballers such as 31-year-old Jermaine Defoe, the former Tottenham star who signed for Toronto and scored 2 goals in his debut against Seattle. One of the biggest names in the MLS is David Beckham. The Englishman came to the Los Angeles Galaxy in 2007 and brought high hopes for the MLS. Beckham's goal to improve the league includes starting a new franchise in Miami, which will open in 2016.
I wanted to create a team that we can start from scratch. I know there was a team here 10 years ago, and unfortunately they folded. But I think going forward, I wanted to create a team that can be very personal. Everything that I've done throughout my career has been very personal to me.
But the MLS is not the only league that has attracted older European footballers. China has been working to improve their league, and the Shanghai Shenhua Club has gathered several football stars. Didier Drogba left Chelsea in 2012 to play in the Chinese city, which was a challenge for the Ivorian striker.
I know China is a great sports country, so for me it was also a big challenge.
Despite the astonishing salary, Drogba says he did not make the choice for money.
Really, I didn't come here with the idea of making a lot of money. I come here because it's a completely different challenge from what I've seen in Europe before, and that's the idea.
Although he was an icon in China, he left the country after several months. Another Chelsea striker, Nicolas Anelka, was also convinced to make a move to Shanghai.
I had other offers, but I preferred to come to Asia because I wanted to discover a new championship.
This was another failure for the Chinese league as Anelka returned to Europe. Big-name players are not the only ones to make moves. World Cup winning coach Marcello Lippi brings joy to Guangzhou Evergrande, the Chinese champion and winner of the Asian Champions League. While Jean Tigana had a more difficult time after being appointed coach of Shanghai in 2011, he took charge with great enthusiasm.
For me, it's an amazing experiment. I've known England, Turkey, and I've made the choice to see a different football and to try a new adventure.
The Frenchman would then be sacked in April 2012 because of his team's disappointing result. While the salaries and new challenges appear to be attractive for players and coaches, the lack of football culture and passion still prevent those countries from reaching the same level as the Premier League or La Liga.
Defending Premier League champions Manchester City delivered a message to last season's runner-up Liverpool. Winning 3-1 at the Etihad Stadium, Stefan Jovetic scored twice along with Aguero as City dominated the game. It was an own goal by Pablo Zabaleta in the 83rd minute that finally got Liverpool on the score sheet. But the final score may fool you. Liverpool dominated in the first half, but failed to create the scoring opportunities to go along with it. And coach Brendan Rodgers knows his team played well off the bat.
Yeah, I think, in all fairness, I thought up until they scored, we were arguably the better side. You know, we looked a threat going forward, a good possession of the ball, and defend it. You know, tactically we were very good, but we switched off just before half time, and Jovetic just finished it very well.
I said in the press conference before the game that for me these games are games of 6 points, especially when you play at home. It's very important not to drop points against an important team. And I think that Liverpool is an important team, and it's a team that will be fighting for the title during the year.
You can say Liverpool is in a transitional period to start this season, with 9 new signings from this summer after losing star striker Luis Suarez. In their latest £16 million signing, Mario Balotelli had to watch yesterday's beat-up by his former club from the director's box, as Manchester City showed they can succeed without the striker. Balotelli played for City from 2010 to 2013, but his off-the-field drama forced them to part ways and send the Italian forward to AC Milan. And after losing Suarez, Liverpool coach Rodgers is hopeful signing Balotelli will fill the void.
I think the market and for to get someone in of that quality and the deal for us was very good. Henry, you know, he's a world-class talent, and like you say, it's an area that we needed to strengthen. So, of course, it's a calculated risk for us, but we feel it's one that we can bring him in and as I said, hopefully improve him as a player and help him mature as a young man.
There were only two teams who have yet to play their first game of the season in La Liga, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, both of them having played against one another over the weekend. Last night, both teams officially kicked off their season, Real with a slightly better start than their cross-city rival. Michael Friedman reports on Real's first game of the season.
Real Madrid looked to bounce back from a disappointing loss against Atletico Madrid on Friday night, which had cost them the Spanish Super Cup. On Monday, they had that chance. Real opened the new La Liga season against newly promoted Cordoba at the Santiago Bernabeu. In the 30th minute, Real's new German midfielder Cruz took a corner and Benzema took advantage, making a spectacular header which found the back of the net. The Cordoba goalkeeper Juan Carlos could only watch as the ball bounced off the post, giving Real a 1-0 lead. The other big-name signing is Colombian star James Rodriguez, who made a name for himself during the World Cup. Rodriguez had a powerful strike on goal, but the keeper made a miraculous save to prevent the Colombian striker from scoring. But James' determination to win had already impressed the fans during the Supercopa. Despite battling injuries, Cristiano Ronaldo still showed why he's one of the greatest strikers in the world. In the 90th minute, the Portuguese star would take the ball from 40 meters out and trigger a shot that bounced into the goal. Cordoba showed great determination and drive despite the loss as Real Madrid began their season with a 2-0 victory. This would be the right start for Real Madrid, who will look to reclaim the La Liga title from their rivals, Atletico.
Atletico Madrid came off a great weekend, beating cross-city rivals Real Madrid and winning the Spanish Super Cup for the first time since 1985. But the reigning La Liga champions were brought back to reality on Monday night against Rayo Vallecano. The Rojiblancos looked tired and neither team looked too energized on the offensive side. Mario Mandzukic had two great opportunities as Atletico began defending their title, and Rayo came close to breaking the deadlock in the 71st minute, but to no avail. Atletico began their La Liga season with a 0-0 draw. And goals weren't the only thing Atletico were missing during last night's game. Rojiblancos coach Diego Simeone was forced to watch from the sidelines as he begins an 8-game suspension he received during the Super Cup final on Friday. The Spanish Football Federation handed Simeone the suspension on Monday, announcing he will be sidelined 4 games for tapping the back of the lineman's head, 2 for protesting, 1 game for applauding being sent off, and another for staying in the stands instead of leaving the stadium. Assistant coach Germán Burgos is taking over while Simeone serves his suspension. And second leg games of the Champions League qualifiers are coming up. Lille will be taking on FC Porto this evening in Portugal. Lille is coming in as the underdogs in this game after tying in the game 1 in France. A Hector Herrera goal in the 61st minute gave the Portuguese visitors an advantage over their hosts. At a press conference, Lille's coach suggested his team may be better off losing and playing in the Europa League instead, while Porto's coach said he has a lot of respect for his opponents and gave them credit on the road.
We have to think that, after all, maybe the Europa League is perhaps more convenient for us when we see all the artillery in the Champions League. It's very tricky.
Lo que sí espero y acredito seguro es que va a ser un juego.
We're talking about football at the highest level. We're talking about a rival that at this point is in the second place in the French league, that plays away much better than at home, that hasn't lost either against Monaco or Paris Saint-Germain. I know what we are going to find tomorrow, but I also know that our team will be prepared to compete and to have the intention of being on the front foot and to achieve our objectives. We will go to the limit, for sure.
4 other second leg games of the Champions League qualifiers this evening. Zenit St. Petersburg have the upper hand over Standard de Liège after winning in Belgium, as well as set Glasgow against Maribor after Glasgow won 1-0 away from home. And the NBA season is just a few months away, and we'll have to wait for Showtime plays by Blake Griffin and the Clippers. But in the meantime, there's WNBA Finals action that may keep us more entertained than we thought. Brittany Griner and the Phoenix Mercury dominated the LA Sparks in Game 2 of their Western Conference semifinals, but it wasn't the score that wowed spectators, it was a dunk. Griner's career playoff high of 21 points included a two-handed throw down midway. It was the third career dunk and the first ever in WNBA playoff history. And that's all for us for today, but don't forget you can find us online, i24news.tv, our Facebook page or Twitter page, i24news in English, for all the latest sports news from around the world. I'm Marav Severe. Thank you for watching.